Hello and welcome to Trekking the Globe. We're going to go with it. Trekking the Globe. It's our, first week of Around the World journey.
We might change it later, but that's what we're going with for right now.
We may slip into the Around the World journey a lot because we are used to saying that.
But this is take 2, so...
2.0?
Yep. Last time we did it, we had
bigger. It's sort of like Fast and the Furious. Like, just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
If we do this one more time, one more time we'll be battling, people in space and stuff.
Oh, yes. So, whereas last time we did this with a 5-6-year-old, now we're doing it with a newly minted 5-year-old and an 8.5-year-old. So quite a bit has changed for us, and we're really excited to jump into this first week. So we're not exactly, as we told you in the overview video, we're not exactly following Build Your Library or Torchlight. Last time we did a complete combo, and if that's your jam, you can look that up. We'll put a link in the show notes. But to
that playlist,
right?
This is a new playlist, growing, larger and larger. Yeah.
But we did pull in pieces that we were interested in, pieces that we were able to make our own kind of unit study stuff out of.
And we'll be using our resource guides that we also produced as we went through the Around the World journey the first time. We're going to be pulling those in and using those all the media and the books and everything for suggestions. So.
Right. But this first week, we did like the idea of doing an overview. Like, let's just introduce our kids to the globe, basically where the continents are. And we can start talking about maps and map making. And so we did lean into a lot of those same themes and some of those same books. And then we started to talk about biomes, which, as you know from our overview video, is one of the special things that we're kind of adding this time. So this was great. So let's start with the globe. Like, that's let's bring out this bad boy.
Could be disastrous. So this is the Leapfrog
Adventure Globe,
and this is interactive. I think we have referenced this for multiple years, and we use this all around the World journey, and this still gets play. Basically, you have this really cool pen that if you touch areas on the globe, it then tells you information. You can also, there are like games as well.
It plays like a little video right here where it will show, like if you click on Kenya, and it'll show pictures of animals running around, and it'll give you facts.
Definitely get some rechargeable batteries and a little battery rechargeable bank. This thing chews through batteries pretty fast, so you'll have to, it gets a lot of heavy use, especially if they're just kind of free playing with the globe, and it tends to run out of juice.
It has some fun games too, of like guessing continents and stuff, where you can guess the answers that our older daughter really likes to play. That's obviously too much for our 5-year-old, but our 5-year-old loves to just touch the map and let it play the videos and learn about things. You can also get packs for this. So they have one all about dinosaurs, for example. So if you're going to do prehistory, and there's other packs that you can buy too. And occasionally they're on sale at the Leapfrog site, so you can get them for like $5 or $6 and then add to the globe. So we really like this because the little bit, it's a very small screen. It's not like a ton of media, but even this minimal amount of media is really exciting, especially to our 5-year-old.
This is great. This is a great addition. So, I think about $50-$60 or something for it.
Yeah, I think you can get it on sale. Yeah, around there. We'll put a link in the show notes. We've gotten, how long ago did we buy this? Like 3 years ago?
3 years ago. We got this, I think, at the beginning of the Around the World journey.
Yeah, and we have used the heck out of it. I imagine it will continue to get lots of use in our house. So, yes, the Leapfrog Adventure Globe is great.
It's a great pickup. So talking about a little bit about maps, we'll talk a little bit puzzles. The World Geo Puzzle.
So geo puzzles, there's all kinds of different geo puzzles for different countries and things. The cool thing about geo puzzles, and if we can open it up, we can show the puzzle pieces are actually the countries. So like this is Australia,
and
for
example.
Kind of
irregularly shaped, and there's some kind of here's India. It's kind of just shaped
Brazil.
Like it.
So that's what's kind of fun. What's nice about this one, what makes this really great for your 5-year-old set, is it's only 68 pieces. It is a little bit different because of the way things fit together, since they're country-shaped pieces. Not every country has its own piece. A lot of the little countries are grouped together.
Like most of Europe is kind of clustered in 3 pieces. Yeah.
So you'll find this whole world one, and then they have ones for each continent. We even have a history geo puzzle about early United States. So these are really fun. So our kids really enjoyed this, and this was a good way. I think our younger daughter did this one twice this week.
Yeah.
Because she just really wanted to figure out those pieces. So if you can get a hold of a geo puzzle, this is a great thing to have around.
Another one that we have here is just basically a fun kind of poster world puzzle. It kind of comes in this nice little carrying case, and it has like a little opening and a nice map if you are putting it all together. This is a fun puzzle. I like this one.
This is good. It's 200 pieces, but this has animals all over.
Yeah.
So I really like that part of it because
you can kind of see it's real colorful, a lot of creatures.
Yeah, it leans into all of our animal and biome stuff. And at 200 pieces, it's a great one to do as a family, even if your kiddo can't like do that by themselves yet. This would be awesome as a family puzzle. So we've done this one a number of times.
Yes.
Not even when we're doing around the world journey. So we like to start with that. So we did the globe work to kind of introduce them, and we should talk a little bit about how what you went over with them on the globe when you started that too. I mean, just basic terms and
basic terms. So along with some of the book recommendations that we had this week, and the picture that we'll talk about here is we were ongoing coloring projects. Talked a little bit about where we are. That was one of the first things I wanted her to be able to do is on the globe point to where we are, not just the United States, but also where in the United States, up in the Pacific Northwest. I wanted her to point and say, that's where we live. So that was the first thing we did. And then we just I just showed her about like all the oceans and all the different continents. And we talked about them. I asked her if she knows any continents or any countries. And she said, oh, India, because you have some work friends from India. And I went and showed her where that was and asked her if, one of the things she always gets when we get in the car and it's warm, she goes, Daddy, turn it to Antarctica cold. And so I showed her where Antarctica was and all that type of stuff. So whatever they limited knowledge they may have about the world, I asked her about that. And then we started to talk about that type of stuff. And we asked her sister where her favorite place in the world was. We've been overseas to Ireland, so I pointed that out. We went to Florida, so I pointed out where Florida was.
We talked about how we would fly there.
And so how we flew to Ireland over essentially the North Pole, and so that was pretty cool. So she kind of got a good understanding of what the world is. Now, could she do it right now? She might be able to point out where Ireland is, and maybe where Washington is. But that's about it.
Well, and that's part of the Torchlight thing about every time you start a new country, kind of going back to here's where we are, here's where this is, how would we get there, kind of thing. So kind of bringing that back. And then I know that our daughters had a bunch of free play time after we introduced the globe. With the Adventure Globe, they were able to just randomly click on countries and kind of just, I think part of this week, it's about giving them a grounding in maps and things, but also just filling them with a lot of excitement about what this year ahead is going to be like. That was kind of the mission this week, was to just kind of get them really pumped for all the great stuff that we're going to do.
And nothing gets my little daughter pumped more than coloring. And this is a giant pull out.
We got to pull it out.
Are we going to do it?
I mean, I think the people want to see it. You want to see it, right?
The people want to see it. So
this is a giant coloring poster of the world that has animals and things all over it.
And you can see,
as you can see, it's giant.
It is giant. And so I had her focus on doing the compass rose down here, and then the world at the beginning. So
it's huge. I think I got this, you guys, for I'm gonna say like $6. It was very cheap. So I will link it. It's kind of a nice hard glossy paper. So I bought it with a big pack of markers.
It will be very interesting to see if it survives getting unfolded 100 times. But it does. It has that feel that I think it's going to survive. So
this is our kind of, rather than do a draw a world on the have a giant poster world map and put paste things on it or draw things on it. Our daughter just loves coloring, and so we thought this would be the perfect thing, because she can just color in wherever we're at, and then eventually, like a scratch-off map, it will all be filled.
It's going to be really cool when it's finally done. It'll be completely filled in.
So it was cool, and it's about the size of our dining room table, so she can just really spread that out and do that.
And I'm not having the older one do this. This is going to be the project for the little one.
Yeah, I just felt that for the cost and what we got, that it was just a great. It was a great thing that we didn't have to do, so we could just get this. Now, we could still paste things on if we wanted to. It's a pretty busy map, so if you definitely want to paste things on, this wouldn't be right for you. Or if I've seen some people have, like Torchlight has like little spots for you to draw pictures where you went to countries and stuff. That's really cool. We're going to do some other binder work for that, so I'm not super worried about that part of it. But we just thought this was fun, and we could hang it up at some point.
Absolutely. So cool. We went through a number of books. So there's a map on my lap. So Dr. Seuss, but this is not written by Dr. This is written
those
by
are library.
Tish Rabe.
Yeah, the Cat in the Hat Learning Library is not, none of it's written by Dr. Seuss. And they're actually really great books. They teach a lot of stuff. This one, Me on the Map, was the one that Build Your Library says to read. This one I really like because it deals with a lot of terms.
Yeah.
Latitude and longitude and
scale and the legend, and then it kicked us into doing the maps of our bedroom, which is another book that we'll talk about, and an activity that we did this week. So it really kind of brought a lot of that home. Just talking about maps in general, I think it talked a little bit more than I probably would have wanted it to, but it was a quick read. My daughter, both daughters loved it. I was reading it to them while they were doing some of their activities and whatnot. So definitely worth a check out from the library.
I think that this one is really great. I'm glad we have it so they can keep referencing it. I think it would be great to bring up, maybe a quarter of the way through as we go along and
keep talking about maps.
Keep talking about maps because their ability to read maps and figure out is going to help them to, navigate where we're at in the world and understand more. So this is really good and it's packed with information. It's very dense for just a small...
And it's got that classic rhyming sequence. So if you have a kind of an emerging reader, not with like the younger one, maybe if you bring along an older one, this is definitely something that they might be able to tackle as a reading project.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's really good.
How to make an apple pie and see the world.
So this is the Build Your Library literature piece.
Great book.
Really great book because it talks about going all around the world and getting the different ingredients for an apple pie. Like where would you get the milk and where would you get the flour
and the vanilla
and the salt and just all this
and the sugar and the
right. So this is supposed to be coupled with like, let's make an apple pie, which I think is great. If you are not a person who wants to make an apple pie, because I feel like apple pies are a little intimidating because you've got to make the crust. The crust is the part. And you could go and buy like a Pillsbury refrigerated crust, and they're not very good. In my opinion, I'm a little bit of a pie crust snob. I apologize. But what I decided to do instead was make an apple crisp.
Yes.
Because we got to use basically all the same ingredients,
without
but it was
crust.
a heck of a lot easier. So,
and you won't disappoint America in general by screwing up an apple pie.
I think that the crisp is
especially this close to the 4th of July.
You don't
want to screw up your apple pie.
It was just easier to do. So I think a crisp is a great way to go. You get to use all the same ingredients. You can still use the story. You don't have to actually bake an apple pie. And it's a lot faster.
We'll put the recipe down below as well.
Yeah, so go Team Crisp.
Get
some vanilla ice cream.
A secondary book to the Cat in the Hat book is Me on the Map.
Right. This is a much simpler book. So whereas the Cat in the Hat book has a lot of information, Me on the Map is...
It's an old Reading Rainbow.
Very basic.
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow. Yeah, so this is a classic. It's super easy. I don't think this is one you necessarily need to buy. No. If you want to just get any one of the map books we talk about is fine on its own. We just happen to have them. So I don't think you have to specifically get Me on the Map because that's the one. It's fine, but it basically talks about like, where are you in the world? Where are you in your country? Where are you in your state? In your house? What does your room look like? It kind of keeps going down on the scale, which is a common theme. And we have another one just like that, which is...
Mapping Penny's World with a little puppy named Penny.
Same type of deal. And these...
There was a scene in this book where Penny goes... it goes and finds Maxine. And then the following page, they go to the park. And my daughter, my 5-year-old, was mortified that Maxine did not get to go with them.
Maxine.
I'm reading it and her face is getting really scared. Where's Maxine? I go, what are you talking about? She went to her house. Now they're at the park. Where's Maxine?
So be prepared with the story about where Maxine went.
This was cute. This is a cute book. It was really fun. Just kind of told through the eyes of a little dog. So.
Yeah. It was cute. So either one of these is great, and they're great to introduce a mapping activity, which gets our kids involved in actually making maps. So
speaking of
whichever one you want to use is totally fine.
We can pivot to art. We went ahead and did the activity of mapping our bedrooms. So both girls went ahead and did their, and
Daddy mapped our bedroom.
But then also
complete with the dog on the bed.
Yes, but it doubled as some basketball practice there on the back. So yeah. No, but anyway.
Yeah, so this is fun. This is just make a map of your room.
Very simple. So I started with an outline. So both our girls have kind of an irregular part of their bedroom, and they were like, "Daddy, can you help me draw it's not square or not a rectangle." So they needed a little bit of help. But after that, they drew everything else.
Yeah, and so this is one where the younger needs a little bit more help. This isn't one this is kind of a standard project from,
I think it was Build Your Library.
For Build Your Library. We just didn't feel like we needed to adapt it really because it was fun even for our older daughter. She got a lot out of it. So we think it's a good exercise. But if you have a much older learner, you could go to like mapping your town or mapping your state. And I think it would be fun to come back around with our daughter to have to start going up in mapping levels with her, because I think she can handle it. And that would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool. Now, kind of a bridge between the map around the world and kind of our biomes thing, our study, is this really cool book, A Drop Around the World, which
this is a neat book.
This is a really neat book. So it just kind of tells the story of a drop of water as it moves through the various stages of its life as it moves around the earth. So really it may start with like a drop of rain on a mountain that then falls into a stream. That stream water gets picked up by, a sanitation department and gets turned into drinking water. Or water, and then that water is poured onto the ground, goes into the groundwater, and then evaporates, goes as a cloud. So it just takes you through the water cycle, and then overlaid over that is as it travels around the world. So you get introduction to different cultures and different countries. Really cool, like kind of around the world, bio type of book, and I really liked it. And it was a nice like kind of introduction into the biome study that we started this week.
Yeah, I think this is a really good one. So if you can check this out from your library or pick it up cheap,
definitely one to check out at the library. It started to get a little long at the end, but it was good. It was good.
For a 5-year-old, it was.
Now this is a spine that we are going to be using, the Beastly Biomes.
Yeah, so it gives an overview of the biomes, and this is the book that we've used to help us. We've talked about this already a little bit, but this is the book where we used to help set the different biomes that we were going to do, because there's not consensus in the scientific community about how many biomes there are. And so we thought, this book is gorgeous. Let's just go with what this uses. So we just did the introduction chapter of this one this week. We didn't actually talk about any of the specific biomes because that's going to be
we're going to keep looping back into it.
So we're just going to keep checking this one out as we need it to go back and introduce as we hit each biome.
And then with each biome, we're going to do an activity, maybe watch a little bit of a documentary and kind of reinforce those ideas as we kind of loop through. This is as we talked about in the previous episode, this is kind of a new thing that we're introducing as kind of a science way of doing this. And now, what I like about this is, as you watch us over the next, three dozen videos, see how we incorporate this, and maybe biomes isn't something for you, maybe something else, and just see how we incorporate this and how we make it a thing. You may be able to build your own little scientific thing, but we really like the idea. Different. We like the idea of biomes because it's kind of like a nice nature, and also can, touch on the various areas of the world that we're going to go through.
Yep, and it's great. It ties in with animals. And so this week it was just the overview. What is a biome? What are the main types of biomes? That kind of thing. Just to give everybody a little grounding.
Absolutely. So then we also did a chapter book, and you read this to our daughter, our youngest.
So Greetings from Somewhere is a Torchlight series, and it's about a pair of homeschool kids who travel around the world with their parents, whose mother gets the travel writer job for the local newspaper. But they're homeschool kids, which is really cool. And they end up solving mysteries at different places around the world. It's really fun for this young age group. It's really great.
Our little one is able to sit and listen to, extensive chapter books like this.
And, it's perfect if you've read like Kingdom of Renly. This is about the same reading level.
Exactly.
So I think I was telling our older daughter, like, you could actually read this now. So she was kind of like, But I just read it to our 5-year-old. So this is the first book that is set in the USA, and it just introduces what they're going to be doing. So it's just kind of the introductory book. And so this same idea, kids that travel around the world, solve mysteries, is also in the Boxcar Children. So there's the old Boxcar Children series, of which there's, I don't know how many books there are, but there's like a lot.
700.
There's a lot. And they put out a new series, just a few years ago, called The Great Adventures. And the very first Boxcar Children one, I think, is called The Runaway Railcar. Runaway Rail. Nah. It's, again, the introduction book. I'll put a link in the show notes. I can't remember exactly. The reason we don't have it is our daughter listened to it on audio from the library.
Yeah, we checked it from the library.
So
she tore through it. She loved it.
She absolutely loved it. I think that the total audio listening time was like 2.5 hours, so it wasn't super long.
It was a quick, for her, that's pretty, she can eat through that pretty quick.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. So that really freed me up to be able to read this Greetings from Somewhere book to our younger daughter and know that our older daughter was listening to her book at her level, because this is too simple for her.
Yeah.
And so that was a nice way to do both. And then what I did was each day that our older daughter would listen, I would kind of quiz her about what was going on in the book and what were the names of the kids, and just kind of interest with comprehension.
Yes.
Oh, are you liking that book? What was that girl's name again?
We were quizzing on names a lot this week.
Yeah, so we asked her a lot of questions to make sure that she really had read it, and she loved it. The moment she finished it, she's like, "Where's the next book?" So I think that if you want to do that kind of mystery of the week, going to different countries, I think the only problem is I think the Boxcar Children's got maybe 6 books, and Greetings from Somewhere has 10. They're obviously not going to go everywhere, but for where you can use them, the kids seem to really like them.
Absolutely. We also did our passports, which I think was an action for Build Your Library.
Yeah,
yes.
I think so.
To build your own little passport. So obviously, Dad travels. Beautifully drew. So basically, these were just essentially a piece of paper, and then I had some line paper that I stapled to make a book, and closed it up. So this is my older daughter's Soar the World, and then Passport to Fun. They were kicking around some of our names that we were trying to name this series.
I like Passport to Fun.
Passport to Fun. Yeah, that's the little one. You like her little pumpkin globe?
I do. I think the smiley face globe is really cool.
It's kind of like a bacon and eggs.
So the idea here is that there are, I think, some stamps at the end of Build Your Library, but you're just gonna free draw.
I think we're just gonna free draw some fun things and just make it a daddy stamp. When you finish your travels,
and they can if you
when you check in and check out of the country, as we watched in the movie recommendation we may or may not make in this one.
Yeah, so we may just do even flags and have the kids color them or something. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do.
Or do something fun with it.
This was a fun idea, so that's what we did.
Yep, we did that.
Let's talk a little bit about the video things that we did.
Yeah, so we started.
So for adults or for older kids, I would say maybe
middle school and above.
Yeah, probably accurate. Okay, so there's a great series with Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman where they go around different continents and around the world on motorcycles.
3 of them now.
Right. So the first one that we watched, and we watched it way back in 2006.
Before we had kids, yeah.
Yeah, we watched it together, or 2007? I don't know. Oof. It was called Long Way Round, and they actually take their motorcycles from London and they go all the way to
New York.
New York.
They take a ferry from Western Russia to Alaska, and then they come down.
But they take the bikes all the way through Russia, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan and everything. It is really cool. It's a series of maybe
6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah, something like that, and they're all about an hour long.
First 2 episodes are them starting the project, sourcing the bikes and all the gear and their support team and all that stuff, and then they get on the go. But going through Europe is a kind of a
that wasn't
you're just driving freeways, right? It was until they got to Ukraine and then into Russia and then into Kazakhstan and Mongolia where it started to really get kind of dicey.
It's all kind of overcoming adversity. They're having problems getting across checkpoints and things. Yep. Really cool. We did, in full disclosure, we did start to watch this with our older daughter. Really, it's all about language. Yeah. There's nothing else super bad in it. There are a
couple adult references, but
a few off-colored jokes that the
young
guys
kid,
made.
Just go right over their head.
Yeah, she didn't get any of it. There was just a ton of use of the F word. So for us, we just told the kids there's a little bit of language, and she actually really enjoyed it. So if you have a child that you're okay with a little bit of the language, or just with an older child, just know the language was really the piece. There wasn't anything else. And as the guys are going around the world, they're actually doing UNICEF stops and meeting children and doing some charity work.
Charity work in Chernobyl and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it's not it's not wild and crazy or anything. They are doing, and so there's this one, there's Long Way Round, and there's Long Way Down where they go from London down to South Africa. And then there's Long Way Up where they go from the tip of South America up.
From Patagonia all the way up to, I think, Alaska?
Or Los Angeles? I don't remember. We haven't seen the other 2, but we think we'll probably watch them because it's really interesting. You get a great look at different cultures and things.
And Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman are really they're just really nice guys, and they're very enjoyable to watch, and they have a very good relationship with each other, and they're just good friends. And it's really fun to watch.
But it's not really meant for kids, so just know that viewer discretion is advised because it's not really made for that. So we watched
What's the Will Smith one?
The Will Smith, is it like Our Living Planet?
Our Living Planet. It's something like that.
Our Planet. I will put a link in the show notes.
Will
Smith, but Darren Aronofsky did the directing on it, and so it's very
artsy.
Yeah.
And Will Smith is in it more than you would think.
Yeah. So we ended up falling asleep during this one.
No,
I think,
it was a little strange. I don't know if I would recommend it for little kids. It is cinematography and the visuals stunning.
Right.
Beautiful work of art. Not for 5-year-olds. And it's not like the content wasn't for them. It was just too abstract at points. And I think I just caught my kids like staring at the
Before
screen.
you fell asleep.
I fell asleep in both of them. But that's not anything to say about
We fall asleep at every David Attenborough show, and they're all amazing.
I'm always on the move, and the minute that butt hits the couch, it's like the brain goes, okay. Shutting down. I'm just like a robot.
So it was beautiful though. So if you as adults want to watch it, or you have older kids who really like just beautiful cinematography, that would be a great one.
But then we doubled back and did the second one.
Right. So we did one that was narrated by Cate Blanchett. And again, I want to say it's called like Our Living World.
Our Living World. No, The Connected World. It was all about connections.
So they all sound, all these ones, Planet Earth, Living Planet, Living World.
They all have the same names.
They do. I don't know why they can't come up with new names.
Our Living Planet of people and the connection.
Look, I don't know what the name is. It's Cate Blanchett. It's on Netflix. I will put a link in the show notes because we can't remember it because it's late.
Galadriel did a great job.
But anyways, the first episode was cool. I mean, it was a little bit of they were trying to show how everything on Earth is connected and how like the elk or the reindeer who are
in the Arctic tundra.
In the Arctic tundra who are compacting the snow.
So it doesn't melt and it creates the cycle of the oceans, and then that leads into another thing and then another thing.
So the connections...
It seemed a little forced at times.
The connections were a little tenuous. Yeah. But, and I'm not saying that the real science doesn't connect all these things, but the way that they presented it made it feel a little bit like that was a stretch.
Yeah.
But the cinematography was beautiful, and our kids were very into it. Yep. They were very interested in it, and I liked that it showcased lots of different areas in the world. And again, the whole point of this week was just to get them excited
about different places around the world.
Right. That was really the whole point. And so we thought this is great because a lot of like Planet Earth and those different Our Living Earth, Our Living World, whatever, all the different ones.
They're all laughing because they know.
They're all like this. I don't know why they all have the same names. So the different episodes tend to focus on deserts or focus on islands or whatever. And we didn't want to have a focus. So we wanted to purposely choose something that was going to hop around everywhere just to get our kids kind of excited. We wanted to watch, there was an engineering show about engineering the world, but it was on Curiosity Stream, and we don't have that. So if you have Curiosity Stream, that could be a fun one. I think it's like a 40-minute IMAX, engineering our world, and it shows giant projects in lots of different countries. So if you can find something like that, that could be a great way to introduce world studies too.
But even better than shows in the Booza household is board games.
Trekking the world.
And I have a feeling we're going to be playing not just this week. We're going to be playing this a lot. And so
this game is great, and we can show a little bit on the back.
On the back, yeah.
So this is a game, and
is this the first time we're doing an on-camera game review?
No, we've done this before.
Have we?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
So this is, they also have Trekking the National Parks, which we also have, and is also fabulous. But Trekking the World is really terrific because it's basically, you're going around the world and you're taking tours of different famous landmarks. And you are either flying or you're moving around the globe, you're a little explorer. And when you visit these landmarks, on the other side, it gives you all this information about it. And so it's like,
and they're famous landmarks, like famous places around the world.
Oh yeah, you're visiting the Parthenon, and then on the other side, you can read all about it. So it's a beautiful game. It's a whole lot of fun to play.
It's a resource allocation. It's sort of Catan meets a little bit of like Ticket to Ride.
It's more Ticket to Ride.
It's more Ticket to Ride. So if you play Ticket to Ride, it's more Ticket to Ride.
It's more like that, but it's really cool. So you're moving your guy around the world.
It looks like Pandemic, but it's Ticket to Ride.
And you're collecting these colored cubes, and you're trying to get these cards to save up to go on these tours.
And collect. And you're just trying to collect a bunch.
And you're collecting. And so you're managing your resources. I played on a team with my 5-year-old. So our 8.5-year-old can play by herself. And she's actually been playing since she was like 7.5.
Yeah.
And then I just played on a team with my 5-year-old, and she had a really good time.
It says 10 plus, but if you're a gaming family, easily can get a 7-year-old to play this game. There's
Yeah.
no reading needed, just simple number recognition and choosing, strategy on where they want to go.
I mean, you do have to be able to match up. There's a couple of the cards where you're going to take the tours at the top, and you do need to know where those are, but they're color coded, and you can kind of say like, okay, when a new card flips, hey guys, that one is down here, over here.
Yeah.
But it was really great because the girls were able to say, oh, I know that's in Asia. Okay, I got to go over there. Or, oh, that's down in Australia.
Yeah,
So
it's one thing about showing them the map. It's another thing to engage them in a game where they're actively staring at the globe and moving around and trying to find places and learn about different, we want to go to this location or this location. Having that interactive element, I think, is a way better way of teaching kind of that introduction to the globe. 2 to 4 players, about 30 to 50, 2 to 5 players, and anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes of playing time. So
this is one of our favorites.
you can probably get this. You can probably get a deal of this, $40 or so.
Yeah, this is great. We've played it a ton, and we also have trekking history as well. But I haven't pulled it out of the closet yet. Maybe I shouldn't admit this on camera. We have trekking history.
You can give it to yourself.
Trekking through history.
Oh, we'll use it later. Ancient history. Yeah,
we'll get there. But anyway, this is a really fun one. If you want a game, this is fun. We've played it with grandparents too. It's not too hard.
Our gamer friends as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really solid, and I think this is a game that it's a solid family game we will come back to.
Well worth the purchase.
Yeah, agreed. So we're going to be trying to bring, as you know, we're going to be trying to bring in games and puzzles and just different things every week that are fun because we have a collection to leverage, and our kids, especially our younger daughters, just love games. So I'm finally getting my wish. I'm building my own game group.
yes, you have your own.
I've birthed my own game group, y'all.
It's getting a little long. We'll see you guys next week. Caw-caw. Caw-caw.